Hey, Pastor Julian here with Central's Devotion for today. I hope you're doing well. We're going to focus on being with Him, living life intimately with God, with Jesus, each and every moment of each and every day. And our devotion comes from Daniel chapter 3, verses 24 to 25. But before we get into those verses, I want to set up the context for this. This takes place before Jesus, after King David and King Solomon, when Israel was split into the kingdom of Israel, and it's split into two. There is Israel and there's Judah, and those are two separate kingdoms at the time, and they were not living with God. They had abandoned Him. They had been unfaithful to Him. They brought in idols of other gods from other nations and allowed the people to worship them. And so God then allowed, because of their unfaithfulness and them not turning and being with God again, God allowed them to be conquered. Israel was conquered by the Assyrians, and Judah was conquered by the Babylonians, which is where our story takes place. King Nebuchadnezzar conquered Judah, and he took things from the temple in Jerusalem, but he also took people. He wanted some of the royal and noble bloodline in Judah, and he wanted some of the younger people who were educated and strong, and so he brought them all into his household. And he wanted to groom them, but he also wanted to benefit from them. And this is where our story kind of takes place, with some of those young people that he took into his household, namely Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, which had different names, and Nebuchadnezzar gave them the name Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. But King Nebuchadnezzar, Babylonians, they worshipped many different gods. And King Nebuchadnezzar had made an idol of gold. And this was a golden image that he had set up and said that whenever you hear music, to all the people in the land, whenever you hear music, you are to stop whatever you're doing and you are to come to this golden image and bow down and worship. And if you don't, there's a consequence. We are going to take you and throw you into a fiery furnace to burn to death. Seems like a valid motivation to me to go and worship this golden idol that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. But Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they were with God. They were with God, and they were faithful to God and loyal to Him, and they were not going to betray Him or leave Him for anything. And this is what they said to King Nebuchadnezzar when King Nebuchadnezzar had proposed this. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. This is verses 16 to 18. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we have no need to answer you in this matter. If this be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and He will deliver us out of your hand, O king. But if not, be it known to you, O king, that we will not serve your gods or worship the golden image that you set up. Nebuchadnezzar was furious at this. He was furious. And so he had Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego taken to the fiery furnace and thrown in. And this furnace was overheated. It was so hot that the guards died who threw them into it. And this is where our verses for today pick up. Daniel chapter 3, verses 24 to 25. See, Nebuchadnezzar was hoping to enjoy watching those three men burn to death, but this is what happened. King Nebuchadnezzar was astonished and rose up in haste. He declared to his counselors, "Did we not cast 3 men bound into the fire?" They answered and said to the king, "True, O king." And he answered and said, But I see 4 men walking unbound in the midst of the fire, and they're not hurt. And the appearance of the 4th is like a son of the gods. So King Nebuchadnezzar, astonished, ends up calling out to Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego to come out of the furnace and come to him. They came out and came to him. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego didn't have one singed hair on their head. Their clothes were not singed or burned, and they didn't even smell like smoke or fire. Absolutely incredible. Nebuchadnezzar then bowed down to their king. God was with them in that fire. He was with them. They were with him, and he was with them in the most crucial moment of their entire lives, when they were about to be burned to death. God was with them. And you can trust that God is always going to be with you, and when you are with him. He is not going to abandon you. And you are to be faithful to him and fully believe in him and seek after him. And I want to point out that even if God had not been in the fire, like it says, like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego said in verse 18, But if not, be it known to you, O king, that we will not serve your gods or worship the golden image that you have set up. They're saying that if God, who we are with, does not deliver us from that fire, we are still with him. We are not going to bow down to your golden image. So I guarantee you that even if God had not delivered them from that fire, you would have seen a 4th person in that fire with them as they burned to death and perished, because they were with God and God was with them. And no matter what, God will be with you if you are faithful to him. I encourage you to live with him each and every moment of each and every day. God bless you and have a great day.